Welcome back. The latest ridiculous thing that I'm doing is notice the goal magnets. Not the goal magnets here, but the goal magnets here showing the score have changed. These are old Canucks, like the red, yellow, and black Canucks. This red one here, that's an Arizona Coyotes one. I have four sets currently. I have Nashville, Minnesota, Arizona, and Vancouver. And the plan is to have a set of every team's helmet stickers, and then for the scores next year, I can actually use the helmet stickers for the team I'm reviewing because I'm a giant geek. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Vegas and Minnesota. And I just mentioned that because yeah, it's the colors you can see are quite different. I'm just going random now, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. So it's Fleury versus Talbot, or no, this is Dallas is what I got, not Minnesota. It's Dallas. The green ones are Dallas. Not that I have a green one on the board, but I will, and those are the Dallas ones. I do have Minnesota coming though. I have a funny feeling they're the same. Fleury versus Talbot, two physical lines started the game, and you could see both teams kind of wanted to send a message. Both teams played physically. Vegas played more physically than Minnesota, especially as this game went along. Early Zuccarello had a wraparound that kind of fizzles out. Raw pokes one to the goal. Vegas needed a goal. And there's something psychological with Vegas. We talked about it last year with Demko, right? And absolutely, there was something psychological with Demko. And then it carried over into the next series with Hudobin, where they couldn't score on Hudobin either. And this series, based on the first couple of games, it definitely looked like it was headed that same way. But by the end of this game, it looked like Vegas was starting to get their confidence back. We'll see if it carries over into the third game. But early on, you could see they needed a goal. Fleury denied Suter when the Wild pressed. Hartman had a chance to draw a Wild power play. I didn't think Ryan Hartman had as many opportunities tonight as he did in the last game. Fleury denies Kaprizov. Good power play. Better Marc-Andre Fleury. The shots were 7-2 for the Wild 6.5 minutes into this. Yeah, it was the Wild controlling the whole thing early on. Stevenson then had a shot saved by Talbot, pressed by the Vegas Golden Knights at 7 minutes. Tuck, very dangerous early in this game. And you could see that Alex Tuck really wanted one. He was very vocal about after they lost the second game about needing to get a win. And so he's kind of taken a leadership role with them. This is a team, remember, in Vegas that I know they have a captain. I know it's Stone. I still get the feeling that this is a team that everybody in the locker room takes the same amount of responsibility for leadership. It's part of what makes Vegas successful. The Wild seemed to be shooting into chaos and traffic. This was the plan: get as much traffic in front of Fleury as possible. If you knock them down, even better. If you get Vegas off their game, even better. It's not a bad plan. It works well in the first period. Beyond that, Vegas did seem to adjust to it. Goal line stand by Talbot, who was then pushed into the net. I don't think the puck crossed the line there. Wouldn't have mattered. He was pushed into the net anyways. Shots were 7-6 Wild at the half. So Vegas was starting their comeback in this. It continues to be the Marc-Andre Fleury show shortly after that. Hartman had a shot that was stopped. Like I said, he wasn't as prominent as in the last game, but he did have a share of opportunities. Wild pressure with 5 minutes left. Suter fires one wide. Traffic in front of Fleury again on that one. Dumba then blocks a Janmark chance. Dumba with some block shots in this game. Talbot then makes the save. Stone gets a break. Talbot poke checked him on that. So we go to the second period scoreless. And again, as each period goes by, you sort of feel Vegas tightening up a bit. And the fans clearly getting kind of restless here. Fleury was tested early again. Fiala's chance marked 5 shots already in the game to that stage. He had 4 in the first period and 1 early in the second. Stone then gets a chance. Talbot stopped Tuck shortly after that. Vegas wasn't getting second chances to this point in the game, so they might have got first chances. Those second chances weren't coming. That would change. Haig hits Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek had some physicality to his game tonight, but again, so did Vegas. Battle in the trenches. Teams getting unfriendly in this, and it really felt like this might be another 1-0 game. Fiala playing a hard-nosed game. Martinez had a shot that was blocked. Wild giving no space for Vegas. White Cloud had a shot that deflected wide. And the Eriksson Ek line was doing their best to try to wear Vegas down. Every time they're on the ice, pushing the play into their zone, trying to, run them down and get shots at the net and just wear them down play after play. And Vegas, it felt like, had to be frustrated. And eventually that frustration had to get to that point. Dumba scores from Brodin at 12:07, and Foligno screened Fleury. I don't think Fleury saw it at all. And that's what wakes up Vegas. 1-0 Minnesota, and the next play, 18 seconds later, Marchessault from Smith and Carlson. Don't be surprised that's the line that gets things going. This is year 4 for Vegas. And it still feels like for Vegas to get over the hump and win, and it's great to have Stone, and when Pacioretty comes back, it'll be great to have Pacioretty back in the lineup. He didn't play this game either. But that Marchessault, Smith, Carlson line is still the lifeblood of the Vegas Golden Knights forwards. It is still the line that when it's going, this team is going. And when it's not, it's a bit of a tougher road for them. And I say that even though Stone is their best forward overall. So yeah, Vegas then pushed for the lead. The fans get really loud after the score was tied. The Wild really needed to settle it down, and they didn't after that. Brodin then had a shot deflect wide. Kolasar would clear it. Vegas gets a power play. Scrumminess happens as well, and Reeves was involved in that. Reeves didn't have to get too physical tonight, but I do get the feeling that it would not be a surprise if he was involved in a fight the next game. And I'm not sure who's going to fight with him. Maybe it's Greenway, but I get the feeling that somebody's going to drop the gloves with Reeves at some point in this series. Talbot then saves a shot from Stone. Dangerous power play, but the Wild would kill it off. However, after that power play's done, while they're still pushing, Tuck gets a goal from Janmark and Pietrangelo. And that goal puts them in the lead. And it feels like those 2 goals in a little less than 5 minutes might be that breakthrough that Vegas needed to overcome whatever ghosts they may have left over from last year in the postseason, right? And it felt like they could start running up the score if Minnesota doesn't control this. Kaprizov nearly answered after that, but in the closing seconds, there was a turnover to Mark Stone. Don't do that. He will score on you. Foligno, just after the horn, decides he's going to take a shot, and they didn't like that. So after the second period, things are a little physical. Vegas is up 2-1. Third period, Zuccarello fired an early chance wide. Martinez then blocked a shot from Dumba. Martinez has got to be black and blue from all the shot blocks. Dumba may very well be black and blue from them as well. Bukestad then denies Kolasar. The Wild were taking it into the trenches again early. Vegas was pressing at the 3.5-minute mark. This is right around where Minnesota hit about 26 block shots. And again, it felt like Dumba got half of them. Fiala to Rask, 2-on-1. Rask hits the crossbar. The Wild pressed, not getting prime chances though, and it was still that same line that was pressuring. And Fiala was fantastic. He was in beast mode for a lot of this game in the second half. Stone's chance wouldn't go in. Talbot couldn't find it though, so he's looking around. The puck's loose. It's one of those plays where you think, well, the goalie's got to have it. Didn't. Never had it. And somehow it doesn't end up going in the back of the net. The Wild did manage to clear it. Things get scrummy. It's Dumba versus Pietrangelo after Pietrangelo hit Kaprizov, and Dumba took some exception to that. So we end up with 4-on-4 coming out of that. Fleury then saved on Fiala during the 4-on-4. Fiala would get another chance, and then Johansson's shot goes wide. So during the 4-on-4, Minnesota looked very good. We get back 5-on-5. Immediately, Tuck's in. He fires one wide. Again, the Wild are getting zone time. Not getting a ton of opportunities, but Fiala was denied once again anyways, because sure, of course. Fans were trying to call a penalty shortly after that. I think it was Fiala they wanted a penalty on there. Hitting really picked up in that third period. Stevenson had a chance to miss the net. Wild would press again, but Vegas was blocking the middle of the ice. Don't give them anything in the middle. Don't give them an easy shot. And they did their best not to do so. Fleury then catches a shot from Dumba. Really desperate hockey by the Wild. I think for Minnesota, they understood if they could tie this and force overtime, and there's a really good chance they could have won this in overtime if they could have got it there. And of course, going home with a 2-0 lead, that would be huge because Vegas has never won in regulation in Minnesota. I think that probably changes during this playoff series, but they've never done it. So, yeah. Timeout by the Wild with 1 minute and 53 seconds left, but with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, Kaprizov takes a tripping penalty, and that basically ends it. So the power play goal, it's Tuck from Stevenson and Stone at 19:08. That makes it 3-1. The Wild would pull the goaltender after that. Why not? It doesn't help. They lose the game 3-1. The series is now tied at 1, shifting back to Minnesota. Well, shifting to Minnesota for the first time in the series on Thursday. The shots in this tell you a lot of how this went. 17-10 were the shots in first in favor of Minnesota. 12-10 in favor of Vegas in the second, and then in the third, 8-6 in favor of Minnesota. Vegas played very well defensively in that third period. Final shots 35-28 for the Wild. Power plays 0 for 1 for Minnesota, 1 for 2 for Vegas. Hits 63-44 in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. 63. Were they all Carrier and Reeves? It felt like maybe a lot of those were Carrier and Reeves. Block shots 26-20. Talbot 25 saves on 28 shots, and Fleury 34 saves on 35 shots for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, from one game to the next, what happens? Vegas figures out a way to get some goals. They get those on Talbot. Do you come back with Kakkonen in Game 3? Of course not. You come back with Talbot again. But has Vegas now started to figure things out with Talbot? Is this the turning point in the series? And now the question becomes, can Minnesota consistently beat Fleury? Because so far in this series, they've got a total of 2 goals on Marc-Andre Fleury, and it's been a ton of shots he's faced. So the storyline switches as soon as Vegas gets those 2 goals within 5 minutes in the second period. Excellent series. This series is really, really good. Tomorrow, of course, we have 5 games on in the NHL. Looking forward to bringing those to you and talking about those and reviewing them, including the last game of the year between Vancouver and Calgary. But let me know how you felt about this game in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. And again, these playoffs have been really, really solid, very good. And so far, low scoring. We'll see if that continues as well. Thanks for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.